Okay, got a lousy day in the Highlands today. It's just dreek. It's just miserable, overcast and, well, lousy. And there is a bit of a breeze coming through which keeps going up and down, so a little tiny quad like this might get blown all over the place. This is the Eachine E61. Now they do them with and without altitude hold on the box. I will check on the website, see whether or not they do that as well, because sometimes what they say on the box is not what they actually do. And this one is the altitude hold one, as we can tell by the throttle stick there. It pops back to center stick. It's a nice little quad. It comes actually fully assembled, even with the prop guards on, but they just slide off if you need to slide them off. I'm just going to fly it with them on, which I don't really need, but I think always handy where they've come assembled as well. Nice little design, tiny little thing, and got awesome LEDs at the front. I'm just going to flick that on so you can see they really are bright, really nice. Virtually nothing at the back at all. You've got a little red LED inside, but I don't really think that's supposed to help you for direction. I think it's really these main ones at the front. You've got a little camera on the front there. It does look like it tilts, but it really doesn't. It's all absolutely solid there. Proprietary battery, and they do them with 1, 2 or 3 proprietary batteries, so quite good. I've got the one with 2. I recommend, definitely get the 2 or the 3 one. Nice to see an antenna sticking out the back. That should give us sort of reasonable range and control, I hope. Transmitter's a little sort of mini gaming one, and unfortunately nothing marked on it at all, which I think is always a shame. I don't know why they don't mark them up, but it isn't. Reasonably simple to run through. You've got your speed changes up here. You've got auto takeoff here, auto land here. This one is for turning the video or taking stills, but it doesn't actually work with this one because there's no micro SD card in here. So you have to use the app to record your videos or take still images. And also it records back to your phone, so it has no onboard storage at all. This is your headless mode and also return to home, and I'll show you all these when we get up and flying. And these 4 here are for trimming the direction of it. You've got your on-off switch there, and then this one here is a flip button, and you press this and then choose a direction and the quad will flip. And also I did just have a quick play with it indoors just to make sure it all fired up and everything. And if you hold this one down for a couple of 3 seconds, it'll actually kill it stone dead, so it'll just drop it out of the sky if you've got a real problem. It doesn't show that in the instructions, and I think a couple of the others I'd had from them do have that, so I just thought I'd give it a go, and it definitely works. You can also prime and stop the motors by pulling the 2 sticks down and out as well. With this particular model you turn the quad on first of all, and as you can see you've got fast flashing LEDs there. Going to put it on somewhere level, and then it goes down to a slow pulse. Turn on the transmitter, and then we're all ready to bind up and down on the throttle, and then the LEDs go solid and we're ready to go. Now the quad will have set up a Wi-Fi hotspot, and we're just going to go on to that. So simply go into your Wi-Fi settings. Mine's actually already picked this up because I did check it all worked indoors before I came out. Go into your connections, and then as you can see you've got various Wi-Fi hotspots that are around me. You want the Wi-Fi UFO, and then it'll have some numbers behind it as well. Go back to your home page, and you need to download the Eachine Fpv App, and that's the one we're going to actually be flying this on. So I'm just going to launch into that. You've got your settings in here. I'm going to leave mine on standard. Everything seems fine, and then it actually runs through how to fly using the app here. So all the different instructions and everything. I've done a video on how to fly using an app, and I'll put a link down in description for you. So I'm just going to press play, and there we go, we're live. It's actually quite reasonably fast for this little level of quad. And is it slightly pointing down? Yeah, it's definitely very slightly pointing down, I would say. So start and stop the video up here, and I'll run through these controls when we actually get a flight on the actual flying it with the phone, because you don't actually need the transmitter to fly. Like so, that wind is really starting to pick up, so I think this might not cope particularly well. We're going to prime the motors first of all, so down and out, and then as you can see they're spinning away quite happily. Whoa, that wind! I'm going to pop it up, and then the wind's just taking it off, just like that. So do not fly in strong winds with little tiny quads. So that's in low rates, intermediates, and then in high rate, and it's still, it could just about fight against the wind. Yeah, look at that. Poor little thing. If I take that off, you'll see how much wind we've got. It's just going to drift it back, and the typical wind in this garden, it will just drop out the way completely. So there we go, nice LEDs for lining up. All you have to do is just rotate around so you can see the LEDs, and you'll be able to fly it straight back to you. I'm going to show you the headless mode, so press this one for headless. I can't remember which way I bound it up now, so That's it. So that way is forward, no matter what way the quad is actually facing. So I turn it round, it's still going forward, it's always away from me, back towards me, left and right. I'm going to cancel out of that, and then return to home is you just hold this down for a couple of seconds, and then it'll start coming back to home, but it will literally just keep on going. It will just, there you go. So I'm just going to cancel out of that. There we go. So you just give it a bit of stick input and it'll cancel it. It flips this one as well, and the flip button's here, like I say. So nice little flip. Oh, the wind's dropped down now, which is good. There we go. So that's in high rates. I'm going to try and show you the different rates. So that's in high rates, and the yaw can get a little bit anxious when you actually really crank it round. So it suddenly goes, oh, well, it's not too bad actually. And it can ascend while it's doing those funnels, really cool. Back into low rates, that's in low rates. A really good one to start with, intermediate, and then high. And it is definitely flyable. It's nice and flyable actually. So I'm just going to stop that video for a second and see whether we can get a selfie. There we go. They're usually about the same quality as the video, to be perfectly honest. Look at that wind, it's completely stopped now. You've got, like I say, you've got this kill button here, so if I hold that down for a couple of seconds, there we go, it kills the motors. Don't tell you that in the instructions, but I always tend to play around with the buttons, see what does what. Auto takeoff, like I say, is this one here, so press that and we're up and away. And if you lose signal, it will just drop down out of the sky. I did just turn the transmitter off when I was indoors. Now I know the garden pretty well, so 50 metres is where that gate is over there. Oh crikey, I'm going to have a job actually seeing this. Yeah, that's certainly doing 50 metres. Oh, we just lost it on the FPV there. Right, see if I can get that orientated round so I can see those LEDs. Whoa, got those LEDs spot on. That's lovely, yeah. So we were just on 50 metres there. The Wi-Fi did break up, but the actual transmitter was still holding as well. That's really nice. Yeah, it's nice, precise flyer as well. Yeah, the Wi-Fi is dropping out on the FPV, which is fair enough. Yeah, no, we're getting the odd drop frame sort of thing. And can you flip when you're actually moving? Oh yeah, you can. So actually, in motion, you can actually still flip as well. There we go. Always make sure you got a little bit of height. Oh, I didn't realise that when I took off, I must have nudged that prop guard on the back there. The other way of landing is just literally take the throttle off and then hold it off, and then once it's actually stopped descending, it will turn it back off. So it will stop the motors going, sorry. So I'm just going to fly this on the app, and most apps are really a lot lower. That wind is just picking up as soon as I mention the word app. It's going to go blow through me, I know. I'm going to stop the video and then start it again. Actually, the flight time's been good. Oh, I might have to do this inside, guys. That wind is really just suddenly picked up. Oh yeah, I don't think it's going to fight this on an app. So to turn on the controls on the app, and let's just turn off the transmitter first of all. You should get flashing LEDs. There we go. Even though we're connected up here for the FPV, it's not actually ready to fly because we haven't got any controls on here. So simply press this one, turns on the controls, the LEDs go off, and this is an altitude hold model, so we're going to pop that on there. Okay, I've just actually moved to the very back of the garden because it's protected by trees here, and we're not going to get that breeze that keeps coming in. So just to show you, turn on the controls like I said before, and then we put it into altitude hold. We've got the LEDs have stopped flashing because we're all bound up and working, and you can actually calibrate it here as well. So you just simply do this one here, and you get flashing LEDs, and that calibrates it for the gyro. So if you've had a crash or anything and it starts drifting, that would be the first point of call, and I showed you how you do that on the transmitter as well. So let's get up and fly. So I'm going to start the video again, and then we've got auto takeoff here. There we go. So, and then that's our controls, the same as before. Don't know if I explained the controls. You can actually change these to right hand controls, but this one's left hand, which is mode 2, and this is the same on the transmitter as well. So push this one up, the quad will ascend like that. Pull it down, the quad will descend. If you want it to turn to the right, you push that to the right, that's called yawing. Turn to the left, go forwards and backwards, or with this one, and that's in the quads orientation. And as I showed you how headless mode works, oh, we've got flashing LEDs, so that's not a surprise. So forward is forwards, backwards, right and left. Obviously when it's facing towards you, everything is changed around. The quad is still going in the correct direction, but it's just right is left and left is right to you, so it can get a bit confusing, but actually it's really nice flying. This actually flies really well. Even on low rates, it wouldn't have coped with that wind around the other bit of the garden, but here it's not doing too bad. I've got a spare battery with me so we can just swap it over when it actually goes down. That's in low rates, like I say, tiniest bit of breeze is stopping it. Into intermediate, there we go, and we can fight the breeze, and then into high rates as well. And that's us going pretty good actually. Whoa, actually it's a nice little app. Really low on that battery now. We can fly this one on a gyro on the phone, so just simply press this one here, and then we can actually push it forward, and the quad will go forward, backwards, right and left. You can fly it in headless mode as well, and you can still rotate it as well, and you can still ascend and descend, and then actually, you know, you're flying it with the gyro itself. What I do with the grandkids is get them to face the way of the quad, and then whatever way you're pointing it is, that's the way it's going to work basically. So it's, yeah, I actually quite like it. When I first got it, I really didn't like it, but now I actually quite like the fact you can fly it on your gyro. So I'm going to cancel out of that. You can flip this one as well, but I don't expect there's enough power in it to, no, there's nowhere near enough power for it to flip. And it's done really well on the battery life, I must admit. You do have a mission planner here, so you can actually tell it, you just draw a line and it will go wherever. I really don't see any sense in it. You can still up it and go, that's it. Just managed to recover that there. I honestly don't see any sense in it at all. I've never have worked out why on earth you want to do it, because you can't record what method, where you're going or anything, your path, and then do it again. So you just literally do it once and that's where it goes. And we could take stills as well, so just got to stop that for a second. Whoa, oh, the battery's gone completely. I think I almost covered it all there. I'll probably do an indoor flight actually. This thing's pretty good fun. And it did handle out here, no problem at all. There's no wind in this little bit of the garden, so that's pretty cool. That actually did a really long flight. Like I was saying, you can put it into mode 1 where you put the throttle on this side, and that's usually in the settings area. So we'd have to come back out of the app, go into, sorry, wrong one, go into your settings, and then you can have right hand mode, and then that swaps the throttle from this side to this side, but not a way I fly, I must admit. You've got other things on here, but like I say, I think I've covered them all. I'm just going to point the quad down somewhere so you can see the icons. There we go. You can reverse your screen, so then it just flips it upside down, and you can do split screen if you want to fly with VR goggles. But honestly, the FPV isn't good enough on this, I don't think, to actually be doing that. I certainly wouldn't be doing that. And then you've got headless mode is this one here, so you can still fly in headless mode. Okay, so going to run some indoor footage for you so you can see what it's like indoors. What do I think of it? I really like it. It's a nice little flight. The transmitter's really nice, and it's a little bit bigger than the real micro one, so it is very usable. The rates are definitely different. Low rates, brilliant for beginners and really nice and slow. Intermediate is a little bit better, and in third rates, if you start to really crank the sticks over, it does actually get a little bit of a shift on, which is really nice actually. And indoors, you can come up to walls very quickly, I noticed. So it's a nice little flying quad, as I say. Camera is what it is. I mean, you've seen the footage, and I'll probably run some footage here as well for you, so you get a feel of it. It is just a little small camera at the end of the day, and it's on a tiny little drone, but I was quite impressed with it. The FPV did what FPV does, you know, it drops out around sort of 40-50 meters away, but did a good job, I think, for what it is. Only you can judge it, like I say. The battery is a little 250 milliamp hour battery. It just slides in the back, and like I say, you can get a version with 1 battery, 2 batteries, or 3 batteries. I'll put links to everything down in description. If you don't want the altitude hold, which is the one I would prefer, and it doesn't come with a camera, then you just order the E61, and that's about 16 quid. If you want the one with the camera and the Wi-Fi and everything, obviously, that's about 24 quid at time of review anyway. You get a set of spare props with it as well, and obviously you've got the prop guards as well with it as well. They're a little bit flimsy, but they actually did what they're supposed to do and protected it. I just took it off at the end here to show you what it looks like. They really are simple to put in. You just simply slide them up into there and that's it. So if you're new to flying, definitely recommend you pop them on. As I was saying, 250 milliamp hour, single cell battery, it's proprietary battery, and I was getting around 6 to 6 minutes 30 out of flight time. I've had quite a few flights with this, quite a good play with it as well, and the granddaughter's have a go with it and she likes it as well. And it takes about 40 minutes to charge. The charging is via USB, and you get this little cable, so you got a micro USB at that end, which just simply plug it into there, and then I'm going to plug it into a power bank, which is how what I do when I'm out and about. Just turn that on, and then you get a little, quite a bright LED, red LED coming on. Hope the camera's going to pick that up. And then when it's fully charged, that goes off. Now I'm on this on the channel, and the only slight letdown I found, it didn't actually pop out, but this is the way they hold the phone on. This is quite a normal way of doing it on this level of quad, and it is a little bit, does feel as though it's going to let go of your phone. So mine didn't have any issues, it didn't drop out, but it is a weird sort of clip. You could easily just whack an elastic band around it to hold it. And it flies really nice on the app, so you don't actually need the transmitter with you. I would say it does get a bit more of a go on it with the transmitter than it does with the app, but it is certainly flyable with it. So there we go. Hope you've enjoyed that one, and I look forward to seeing you on the next.